What's up, miners? Welcome back to another episode of Mine Something. If you're new here, my name's Jake, and today's episode we're going to talk about surviving the crypto bear market as a miner. So, first question is, how long do we have to survive? If you take a look at the BTC chart here, going all the way back, you can see that from blow off top to bottom of the bear market was about 396 days. How long it took until we got back above where we fell off from, usually about 761 days. We'll take a look at the next one here. So blow off top to the bottom, roughly 334 days. And then when we get back to normal, 485 days. And let's take a look at where we're currently at. Now, depending on your viewpoint, you may think we had our blow off top in April, but if you go by the top number, that would be in November. So from November until right now, it's been 273 days. I would say this large wick here could possibly be the bottom. That's been 212 days. So if we got a minimum of roughly 365 days until the bottom, then we're probably going to be sometime in November, right? And then things don't get back to normal until about 500 days or so. And that's going to put us sometime in May. Okay, so if Ethereum switches to proof of stake and everything is no longer profitable for a considerable amount of time, you know, you really want to take into consideration what your strategy is right now to prepare. And hopefully you're watching a lot of us YouTubers out here, such as Son of a Tech, DJ Mines, Red Panda Mining, Bits Be Trippin', the list goes on and on. And I highly recommend you check out those channels and give them a like. But for now, I have a few things that I would like to share with you that I think could help you perhaps be more successful. And the first thing I want to start out with is getting your coins off the exchanges, and also any other risky platforms with staking. So everybody knows about the Terra Luna collapse, but I just wanted to point out here that this was $45 billion of market cap over the course of a week. And that had rapid repercussions to other areas such as Celsius, Three Arrows Capital, and FTX to some extent. If you've really been paying attention, you're going to realize that it is contagious, and we're not done with the bear market just yet. You've got your coins on these other exchanges, these other platforms. Let's face it, there is no security there. Not your keys, not your crypto. You know how this works. So if you've been complacent up until this point, perhaps you're sitting there with a large sum getting ready to sell ETH right before we switch to proof of stake. You know, I caution you, there may be some 51% attacks on these smaller coins. Liquidity is an issue when things are towards the end of the bear market. So just be careful, guys. You know you need to do it. Get your hardware wallet, get it set up, get things moved over, and don't be lazy, okay? Here's some advice from a guy who lost 20,000 in Celsius. He's got several things to share, but one of the things I wanted to read. The sudden and rapid collapse of Celsius was a reminder of how risky the crypto industry can be. Unlike the traditional stock market, there aren't robust federally mandated predictions or protections in place for crypto investors. It's still unclear if investors will get their money back from Celsius, and Hart is still locked out of his account. Hart has written off these losses, but doesn't want the same thing to happen to other investors, especially those who are just starting to invest in crypto. Here's Hart's advice on navigating the volatile crypto market. Now, I'm not going to read all of these, but you can see the bullet points here. Don't risk money that you can't afford to lose. Get familiar with crypto wallets. Consider dollar cost averaging your crypto investments. So there's a lot of different ways to protect your crypto, and it starts with making sure that you are off risky types of platforms, including risky exchanges. Okay. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about is you cannot stop researching, and the most important time to research is in the bear market. You need to be finding the next coin. Okay. Now, how do you find new coins to mine? Here's some advice from these guys here that say check out Bitcoin Talk announcements. You can check coin market cap specifically for mineable coins. Search Reddit, Pickaxe mining tool, Google alerts and searches. Um, so here's coin market cap, and you see you can sort by mineable coins. Now they don't have everything. What I would like to find is the next coin, and you can start by finding that next coin by paying attention to some of the YouTubers out there that I had mentioned previously. Son of a Tech has turned me on to Caspa. Another way that you can find coins is by going to mining pool stats. Okay, you can sort by ASICs, by GPU, you can sort by algorithms, you can sort by various, and as you go through these, you may not see uh, you may see things that you recognize, but you also will see things that you don't recognize. And click on one of these, go do your research, figure out how long it's been mineable, figure out what the white paper looks like, put in the time. That's how you're going to find the diamond in the rough, so to speak. And speaking of Caspa, if you haven't already been made aware of this, it's taken off pretty quickly. I really like the project. There's still a lot to be desired as far as them having a legitimate website, being active on Twitter, and I know they're in the Discords, but if you guys look into this, you're going to find pretty quickly they have something pretty amazing, and we're talking about instantaneous transaction speeds and scaling of which nobody else has been able to figure out. So please give Caspa a like. I'm currently dual mining Caspa. I've got about 5,200 Caspa so far. If you look at the price of the coin right now, it's 0.0025. That did spike to 0.003 pretty recently, and this coin has only been in existence since, what would that be, June of this year. So yeah, we've already had substantial increases, and that started pretty recently, 726, and then right before we climbed up, that was just, wow, August 12th. So yeah, something to pay attention to. If it's not already on your radar, check it out. You can see I've got my 3070 Ti rig running dual with Ethereum and Caspa on Wooly Pooly, and yeah, so far I'm able to keep my power about the same as I was mining ETH only, and I'm collecting a little bit on the side. And if you do the math, this is adding roughly, I think, about an extra $3 to $5 a day on top of what I'm getting in ETH, and I didn't have to sacrifice a whole lot of my ETH in order to get there. So definitely something to consider. And that brings me to my next point, and that is you should be testing other algorithms now. Please don't be complacent. If you're on NiceHash and you got profit switching, sure, it might do some of the heavy lifting for you, but you need to know what these overclocks are on all of these other coins, because you don't know what's going to be profitable post merge. So figure it out now, get it dialed in, make sure you are as efficient as possible. The next thing, when it comes to what to do immediately following the merge, I personally will be cleaning, and what a better time to get after it and really do that deep cleaning, making sure that the equipment's longevity, this is your baby. You have to take care of those things. Don't just let them collect dust. You know, do the deep cleaning, not just an occasional dust off. Now's the time to check your wiring, make adjustments. If you're currently running everything on 110, let's try to transition to 220. Get that extra 10% efficiency, because you are absolutely going to need it. And there's also things that you can do to undervolt cards. If you're running, let's say for instance AMD, and there's some really good undervolting settings that you're not utilizing right now because of whatever reason, now is the time to get that dialed in. You can use hashrate watchdog. You do not want any downtime on your rigs. If you go down and you're still pulling several hundred watts with your cards just idling for several hours at a time, I mean, this is not dialed in. You really have to be buttoned up, guys, because it's going to get ugly for a while, and you don't want to be throwing away extra money on your electricity bill when you don't have to. Now, if you are considering investing during the bear market, one thing that you may want to implement if you're going to acquire new hardware is a strategy that long-term holders use, and that is dollar cost averaging. You may be thinking to yourself, man, I've got $3,000 saved up, and the day after the merge, I know everything's going to be unprofitable and people are going to be selling cards so cheap. Well, yes, you might see a significant dip whenever Ethereum switches to proof of stake. However, that dip can continue, and trying to time the market will never outperform time in the market. And what I'm telling you guys is, make a plan to buy equipment over a certain period of time. Okay? So you don't want to go all in immediately. And a dollar cost average strategy is an excellent way to do it. And there are some other strategies out there to be aware of. So for example, you could do something called value averaging. And dollar cost averaging is a specific amount over a set time frame. However, value averaging is decidingly going in at certain increments. So, for example, suppose you determine that the value of your investment will rise by $500 each quarter as you make additional investments. In the investment period, you would invest $500, say at $10 per share. In the next period, you determine that the value of your investment will rise to $1,000. If the current price is $12.50 per share, your original position is worth $625. 50 shares times $12.50. So, which only requires that you invest $375 to put the value of your investment at $1,000. This is done until the end value of the portfolio is reached. As you can see in this example below, you have invested less as the price has risen, and opposite would be true if the price had fallen. Okay, so essentially, you decide, where do you think graphics card prices are going to go, or peripherals, power supplies. If you're not paying attention to macroeconomics and you don't understand where the prices of GPUs are heading, the supply constraints, all of those things, you need to pay attention to those so that you can get a better idea how to value average as opposed to DOS collar averaging. The last thing, or second to last thing I want to talk to you guys about is paying your bills on time so that you don't have late fees. Now this at first does not come across as something that has anything to do with mining, but everything has to do with mining when you're considering your cost and your expenses. And one of those unnecessary expenses that you've been lazy in is probably not paying your bills on time and collecting a late fee, whether that's for something as simple as your cable bill, your internet, your electric bill, your water bill, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. The late fees are not getting any cheaper. Okay, the entire economy is about to start tightening up. And according to this study, it shows that Americans paid more than 15 billion in late fees in 2020, an added cost of $119 per household per month. So think about how much mining you can do with $120 per month paid towards your electric bill. That's considerable. You know, it may not be something to you large miners out there, but for the hobbyist miners, $120 on your electric bill can go a long way in mining, especially when we get into the bear market. And then the last thing I want to talk to you guys about is the proper way to prepare for a bear market is to take cash positions in previous bull runs. Now, you might have missed it this last time. I know I sure didn't do a great job of it because we're all listening to BitBoy and he's telling us that we're going to $100,000 guaranteed before the end of the year. But you got to pay attention to the warning signs, okay? There are canary in the coal mine moments all around you. You just have to tune in and pay attention to. For example, when the Federal Reserve said, you know what, it doesn't look so great that our employees are participating in the stock market, and technically we control the stock market. So, yeah, we're not going to allow Federal Reserve employees to participate in the stock market anymore. Why in God's name would they stop? It's because what better of an excuse to pull all of their money out at the blow off top and leave you left holding the bag? Okay? You got to pay attention to these warning signs, guys. You really do. So when we talk about taking cash positions on the way up, you're still going to mine, let's hope, even during this bear market, you're still going to find a coin that's profitable at some point, okay? And as we start to go back up, you're going to wonder when you should start to take profit if you plan on accumulating in the next bear market or perhaps just surviving, okay? Maybe you guys need this income, but it's extremely important to have a strategy. And if you don't currently have a strategy, then, you know, check out something like this, okay? Here's one profit taking strategy, okay? One way is take profits when you make twice as much as you risk, okay? So as an example, I highly recommend using the 2% rule for your risk, i.e. you should never risk more than 2% of your trading account at any given trade. So if you have a $10,000 account, don't risk more than 2% or $200. When your risk of $200 gets to $400, that's when you take profits, okay? Pretty simple strategy. Here's another more advanced one, okay? As an example, when you look at stock SLCA, you could easily get a 5x return on your investment. You could get $1,000 for every $200 that you risk. In this case, what do? Do you try to get 5x even though it's more aggressive, or do you stick with the more conservative 2R? So yeah, anyway, just point that I'm trying to make here, guys, is find a strategy and stick to it. Don't just aimlessly wander around, you know, reading market sentiment, okay? Yeah, market sentiment can help you, but typically it tells you that everybody's thinking the wrong thing. Usually what everybody is thinking is the opposite of what's going to happen. If you just simply put a plan into place and don't deviate from that, then you're probably going to be much better off. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this type of content. I wish you well through your mining journey through this bear market. Keep in mind, we still have hundreds of days of this left, so plan accordingly and leave a like and hit that subscribe for. Thanks, I'm out.